Well, hello again, and welcome to another playthrough of SolForge. Happy Monday to you. Now, if you remember last episode, I did a playthrough of a single match. That was the third and final match of a draft game that I had gone weeks before, and I didn't really think to record that draft experience from the very beginning. And then I was having such a terrible time that I thought, oh, maybe it's better that we didn't record any of it. And then I expected to just record that final game and then get beaten badly and then start fresh. So it turned out I did manage to make something of that horrendous draft deck and win my third and final game. But after that I thought, well, let's start from the beginning this time. And this will be a good video for those of you who haven't played much draft or have just started playing SolForge and would like to kind of get some insight into what it's actually about and maybe some basic strategies on how to have some success. I'm by no means an expert at SolForge, especially the draft mode. I've played 2 draft games so far since it got implemented into the beta, so it's gonna be a learning experience for everyone, I think. So before we actually get into the game, just thought I'd pop this information window up for you. Drafting in SolForge in particular is really cool. You get to draft 30 cards to make your deck. They do it in a way so that you draft your cards, and that is basically your deck that you go into play. You're not getting any excess cards. There's no tuning like that happens. So it's very lean and mean and quick. Another bonus for drafting is that you keep all the cards that you draft. So after you've played once or twice, sometimes it doesn't hurt to just pick a card that is rare, that is either a heroic or a legendary, something that you're missing from your collection. And this is really cool, especially if you play constructed, you do the constructed tournaments, or you just play public matches with your own custom deck. So all these things are good. Also, the rewards are pretty generous. If you go unbeaten for 3 wins, you'll get 9 event tickets and a premium booster pack, which a premium booster pack is usually excellent. If you do get 2 wins, it's 5 event tickets and a normal booster pack. My opinion kind of varies now on those normal booster packs, and I think if you're a new player, those will be fantastic as well. But if you played for several months like I have, it's starting to wear thin. Starting to get a ton of repeats. It's very hard to get that one specific heroic or legendary that you're still missing from your collection. Then again, it's always the luck of the draw, right? And even if you get 1 win or 0 wins, for 1 win you'll get 3 event tickets, which is decent, and you get still a normal booster pack. And if you just go and you get a big goose egg for all 3 matches, you still get a normal booster pack for participating. Now, if you keep losing, you're not gonna be able to go infinite, right? And keep funding future draft games. But then the game itself is very generous with handing out event tickets, as you will quickly realize, just playing the game consistently for 1 week. Anyway, enough chatter. Let us start a draft game. So in this video, we're just going to draft the cards and build the deck, essentially. And then in the next video, we'll actually head into some matches and test out our deck and just see how it performs. So let's start the draft. I have plenty of event tickets racked up, so yes, spend those 7 event tickets and let's get started. So right off the bat, you start off neutral. You haven't really selected what factions you're gonna get into. Typically you're gonna go into 2 factions. I've heard it's possible to just stick to 1, but it's more likely that if you focus on 1 faction, you do end up splashing a second one. It's just the way the drafting mechanic works. So let's see here. So once we select the card from this pack, we just drag it into this empty area on the left here. But for the sake of just being thorough, we're just gonna look at the blown up view of all the cards we get. So first card here in the top left is we have a heroic, is Om Nom Nom, and this is a spell I actually haven't used in any of my decks before. And it's gonna be good if you let's see here, target zombie you control gets +2 attack and +2 health. Target non-robot, non-zombie an opponent controls gets -2 attack and -2 health. And the numbers scale up to -4 and -6. Well, there are a lot of zombies if you decide to go Necreum. So that's something to consider. Next up we have Sinfist Brawler. This guy I've had sort of like inconsistent performance with. I usually don't have a deck that's really tuned to take advantage of this guy, but when he works, he's amazing, especially if you can get him around blockers. He's just pushes through so much damage. Epidemic, this is a crowd favorite. What else can be said about Epidemic? It clears away those weenie decks, those spam decks. Does great work there. Also great in any deck that does a lot of controlling, where you're debuffing guys, and you know, this would just debuff a whole bunch of guys at once. Not so great at level 1, but level 2 and level 3 definitely a great card to have. Very versatile. Energy Prison I've come to really like. Something that you need to keep leveled as you play. If you ignore this card and then you know, during player level 2, player level 3 it pops up, you're not really going to get much use out of it. It's just going to be a dead card in your hand most of the time. But you basically just permanently give Defender to someone. Firestorm, pretty situational, probably best in like a spell heavy deck, which is probably not something you're going to play in draft. Most of the time you're going to go pretty creature heavy when you're drafting. But you know, who's to say you don't do like a Savant spell heavy deck, and the Firestorm I think would be a pretty good fit. You don't need too many of these ones though. Finally we have Mossbeard Patriarch. Haven't really used this guy a whole lot, and when I have, he hasn't really been a good fit in the decks I put him in. I haven't really found the best use of him. Creatures that activate generally turn me off, with a few exceptions. Activate, having to wait, it's a real bummer, but luckily this guy his stats are tuned to help out that drawback. He's got a very big butt, so typically he's not going to die right away unless someone has Cold Weak or something like that. So where do we want to go with our first pick? This is going to determine our first faction. Being a Necreum guy myself, I'm leaning towards Epidemic. If I wanted to go Utera, just based on this one Uteran card, it doesn't really inspire too much confidence. So, Om Nom Nom, don't know if I necessarily want to go zombies. Yeah, let's just play it safe. We're going to play it safe. We're going to go for the Epidemic. It's just an all-round good card. So now what happens is that they simulate you know, I just basically pass that pack over to the next player, but there is no next player. They sort of simulate the draft experience by, I should start over. Since you can draft whenever you want and at whatever pace that you want, it's not real time, there's no specific session that you need to start with other players. So what they do is they simulate what other players would pick if they were playing with you right now at the same drafting table. So you just pass the pack over, and you've received the pack from the player next to you on the other side. So here we're basically looking at a pack of 5, since one card has already been picked by the other player. And we have a lot of Utera cards. Let's run through these real quick. Druid's Chant. It's going to give health back to you. Very specific use card. Never really found a use for it in any of my decks, but that's just me. Toxic Wars. This could be handy. We can poison one particular person. it can really help you get rid of those pesky creatures that have regenerate, or perhaps armor, or you just don't want to commit a creature to blocking another creature on this particular turn. You want to free up that lane, but you want to get rid of that creature pretty soon. We have a pretty vanilla creature here, 5/2, 16/8, 18/10, not the best. Having a 2 health is really sucks. It's just like a prime target for Epidemic, for example. Glowstride Stag, pretty, I mean, it's in a similar vein as the Druid's Chant, except now you get a creature to go with it, and the creature scales up quite nicely. 7/10 is still susceptible to Cult of Weak, which is the a staple removal spell from Necreum, but at level 3, when this guy hits the board, you're getting 15 health back, and 11, 15 on the stats. This is not too shabby. And then finally, the 5th card in this pack is Witherfrost Banshee. I personally really like this card. It's not an all-round solid card, but if you're playing a more defensive game, or a game that's built around debuffs or reducing power, or dealing with weak creatures like a weenie deck, this guy can really turn things around quick. Well, since I've already picked Necreum, I kind of want to keep on that track, and the lone Necreum card here is the Banshee, and none of these Utera cards really stand out to me right now, so let's stay with Necreum. Alright, on to our 3rd pack. 4 cards in this one. Oxodon Spitter. Not a card I've used a lot, but I can see this being, of course, really strong against Alolan decks. Pretty vanilla creature for Necreum, and not the best one, just because the level 1 and 2 are just so not impressive. Technosmith. Okay, so I gotta say, when I first started playing SolForge, Alolan was pretty low down on my list of factions. I really didn't like them. They had weak creatures, and it came down to me really not understanding how to play Alolan correctly. And after months of playing and kind of experimenting with different archetypes, and of course being beaten by Alolan decks, the beauty of this faction really has really come through. And Technosmith is sort of like a cornerstone of a lot of Alolan decks. It's going to help you level another card when you play them out, and that is just huge, especially if you're playing a very defensive deck. And you're trying to get around that randomness that really bites people in the butt when they hit play level 3, and then they draw like all level 1 cards. And this is the guy that's really gonna mitigate that for you, because you're in the long term, if you're at parity with another player and you're heading into player rank, I should just say player level 3, 4, and onward. If you're consistently playing your Technosmith, you're gonna get so many more cards leveled, and you're gonna increase your chance of drawing into those leveled cards in the late game. That is a huge difference maker. I mean, the only thing that's gonna squash you is like a deck that's highly aggressive, right? But if you can keep pace with your opponent, you're gonna come out on top in the end more often than not. So the final card here is the Aegis Conscript. And this guy's okay. He just provides armor. Looks like we're gonna go Alolan for a second faction, and that's fine with me. I really like the Necreum Alolan combo. I find maybe Necreum goes a little bit better with Utera, but yeah, I've had a lot of success with Necreum Alolan, so let's just stay on that track. We have 3 cards in our 5th pack, I guess. And so right off the bat, I just know what I want from here. Not Zithian Hulk. Okay, I just start to go backwards this time. Zythian Hulk, if there's really nothing else, I'd take this guy, but he's sort of like that worm from the last pack. I don't really want him, because his level 1 and level 2 are just not great. And he doesn't do anything else. We also have this guy. This guy is just miserable. I never use this guy. There's just so many other creatures that have mobility that are better than this guy. His level 3 is decent, but when you play him at 3-3 level 1, and you know, 11-11 for level 2 is fine, but yeah, I don't know. Never use that guy, and I've never missed not having him. But this is the one. This is the card that I was eyeing up when I first saw it. Jetpack. There's nothing like a jetpack to spring in your opponent. When they think they've got you, when they think they're safe after they've hit that end turn button, they think if they have a free lane, you can just get around it and you just smack them for just so much damage. Even when you use level 1 jetpack or level 2 jetpack in the late game, like say player level 3 or beyond, it really packs a punch. So we're taking jetpack for sure. Alright, so lucky yes, we do get to choose from 2 alluring cards. We have a Steel Shaper Savant, pretty straightforward. Since the change, the balance change, his ability is only going to trigger off an alluring card of a lower level, and that really hinders the usefulness of this card in general, especially if we're pretty much going along a 2-faction deck. So if I had the choice to just go single faction, just go pure alluring, definitely give this guy a serious look. But since we're not, it's a little bit too unpredictable whether we're going to be able to trigger this ability, which is really useful. But if we can't get to it consistently, it's not something I'm interested in. This guy, the Metamund Adept, on the other hand, is generally fantastic. He has a pretty good stats. His maybe level 3 comes up a bit short on, say, the toughness, but his ability is awesome to be able to draw that 1 extra card. And I guess the rule of thumb of this guy, if you draw this guy and that you don't have like a must play in your hand, put this guy down first and get that extra card into your hand, and that could be the difference maker for that turn. So we're taking the Metamund Adept. Okay, we got another Technosmith, which is really good. You might want to just get a second one of that guy. We have Dark Shaper Savant. Same deal with the Steel Shaper Savant. If I was just going pure faction, then I would definitely look at this guy. He's going to be a killer. In a dual faction in a draft deck, I don't feel as confident about it. Scythian Infiltrator. This guy is one of the newer cards that got added to the set, and generally he's pretty great. He's got a very rare ability for alluring, which is Breakthrough, and so obviously this guy goes really well with the General and the it's totally escaping me right now, but the other card is the card you put in the center lane that buffs everyone on your team. So actually we're gonna seriously look at the Scythian Infiltrator as our pick on this pack. Right at the Grimgaunt. This guy can do a lot of damage, especially in a limited environment like this. Definitely a consideration to be able to just it's called the Voltron effect, right? Where you build up one single creature to be really powerful. And when you're not in constructed, you're less likely to be screwed over by some kind of removal or direct damage spell. So if you choose to go on that track of building out one creature to get really huge, really dangerous, that's definitely a valid strategy. Another Steel Shaper Savant here. Not quite interested. Oh, we have this guy here. I used to just not even look at this guy, but he's got decent stats, and to regenerate past level 1, regenerate 1 is pretty nothing, but once you get into regenerate 2, regenerate 3, it's not bad. It's unfortunate he's not very strong. His top end is 11-11, But this guy has actually done some decent work for me. He's a workhorse. If you're trying to find guys with regeneration, guys who will stick around the battlefield, you could do a lot worse than the Scorpion. So now we're at an impasse. I'm pretty... Okay, there's Technosmith, Cyprian Infiltrator, and Rite of the Grimgaunt as my top 3 cards of this new pack. Based on what we have, let's see here, I'm not... I haven't really drawn into anything that boosts power, like a Loin General. And I'm not quite sure if we want to really run with the Rite of the Grimgaunt. We actually don't have a ton of creatures yet. We only have a Technosmith, Witherfrost Banshee, and a Metamine Adept. So actually, let's just play it safe. We'll get 2 Technosmiths. I think getting 2 is going to give us a solid base to work with. We can level up those cards, and we're guaranteed to draw into a Technosmith at least once in the first player level. So we're going to take the Technosmith. Alright, our next pack. Gravegast, another common Necroom regenerating creature. This guy, I've never really picked this guy for anything, even for my constructed decks, or when I played a Highlander tournament. He's actually okay. I think the thing that turns me off him is that I don't know why. I wonder if they changed his stats recently. I didn't realize, but he's actually decent. He might actually be better than the Scorpion in some ways, just because his regenerating is higher. It's 2, 4, and 6. He's worth a look. He might be a good, just a good foot soldier to have. Aegis Pulse gives all your creatures armor 1, armor 2, and armor 4 as you level it up. Another Zithian Hulk. Not too interested in that guy. Ionic War Charger. This guy's I used to play this guy a lot back in the alpha days of SolForge, and yeah, having that mobility was really awesome, and he levels up pretty well. His stats go up decently. He's a consideration. Vengeful Spirit has gotten better over time. Basically, he's like a he's like a kamikaze guy. Like if he dies, he tries to take the creature he killed with him. Low stats. That's a big bummer. This guy having a health of 1 means that you just have to blow on him on the first level and he dies, and he'll try to take out whoever's across from him, but -3/-3 in the first player level is significant. But you look at level 3, the level 3 form, he's a 7/5. That just does nothing, right? You put him across from another level 3 creature, and so this guy dies. He's gonna do 16 damage to the guy across from him. It's okay. Do I want to go that route? See, this guy would go okay with, say, like Jetpack. We want to surprise someone with like a for whatever reason, if your Vengeful Spirit survives into a turn where he's still around and you have a creature in the next lane that's going to be attacking into you, you could Jetpack this guy, and the power boost provided by the Jetpack may help with the shortfall and the difference of power, but yeah, it's not sort of more of a corner case in my opinion. I'm leaning towards getting the Ionic War Charger just because of the mobility and his decent stats. Yeah, let's go with the War Charger. Yeah, at this point I really don't know what the theme of my deck is going to be, like what it's actually going to try and do. We can sort of try and suss it out now, but right now it's kind of aimless. I'm just kind of going on a card by card basis. But I hope sometime soon I'm going to find some signs that really point me towards a specific direction, or it's going to point me towards something that's going to help me in the overall metagame of draft, right? So far I'm not seeing it. Now here I might take a second jetpack. We also have this Forge Guardian Alpha, who's a defender. Now this might actually be good. Since I have a jetpack, this could, I could turn this guy into a surprise attacker. He's got a big body. Now his biggest drawback, of course, is that he's defender, unless I can jetpack him. His level 3 stats are excellent, right? And he's not too bad at level 2. Another Vengeful Spirit, right? And then we have Sparkplate Assassin. I was super high on this card when they first went into beta. And the reason why I was so high on it was that the jump from level 1 to level 2 is just simply amazing, right? Of course, from level 2 to level 3, not as good, but it's still pretty strong. Of course, it's susceptible to Cold Weak all the way through its lifetime. Except that, level 2 you might get some leeway, since the level 2 Cold Weak hits begin at power 8. But at level 1 and 3, it's a prime target for Cold Weak. Pardon me, I just had a bit of gas. I could take a second jetpack, but I might be putting too many jetpacks into this deck. I mean, don't want to jetpack is not like an all-round awesome card. It's very specific. But if I already had 2 jetpacks, I would definitely take the Forge Guardian Alpha. As it stands, we're kind of waffling between the Alpha and getting the Sparkblade Assassin. I think I'd be happier just getting something that can attack, so I'm gonna get the Sparkblade Assassin this time around. This is a more solid, reliable creature. And I don't want to pin my hopes on this whole jetpack strategy. Just having one in there so far is just a nice little thing. It can work as a surprise attacker. I'm not gonna mold my whole deck around that one card. Another Aegis Pulse. I haven't really done much with armor so far, and that might just continue. We have another Grimgaunt Spectre. Not the greatest. And then we have a Grimgaunt Glutton. So the Glutton I really like, especially in an Abomination themed deck. The Glutton is amazing. Get some Dr. Frankenbombs in there, and you just start chipping away with this, secondary damage, right? Glutton dies, chips for damage, triggers the Dr. Frankenbomb, chips for more damage, and turn after turn you keep trying to set that up, right? And it hits for a lot of damage. We don't have any Dr. Frankenbombs this or any other Abominations at this point, but he's a pretty good card. At least when you compare him to Mr. Spectre here. Let's get him. He's solid. Let's get the Glutton. Okay, so we're at this point. I should have pointed this out earlier, but you probably figured it out. After I went into my 2 factions, all the cards I'm getting are just for those 2 factions. That really helps with the whole drafting system. I guess one of my fears, right at the beginning, I thought, you'd always be picking from a highly randomized pack of all the factions, and since you're only limited to 2 factions, your maximum is always 2 factions. I thought, oh man, it's gonna suck for drafting. You get all this cruft, right, in later packs, but then they were smart to circumvent that, and it's not realistic, obviously, if you play this in real life, but this game does not exist in real life, so don't have to worry about that. Now, right off the bat, Grave Pact is pretty good. Unfortunately, we don't have any recurring creatures where we would get the most use out of this. You have to sacrifice your own creature in order to kill another creature, and it's capped by level, so you have to make sure to level this up properly. We're lacking things like Death Seeker, right? Things that will generate another body after they die. So the usefulness of that is pretty limited. Energy Surge, I found, is also kind of limited. It's really a tough sell to play an Energy Surge during your first player level. And you know, putting one in your deck is almost like pointless. You need to put like a couple in order to ensure you kind of get that. But it's really tough to invest in the energy surge, especially if your deck isn't built for that defensive long game. I'm gonna ignore the energy surge. I've had better luck with Grave Pact, so we're gonna go Grave Pact. And then, yep, we get a fresh new pack. This is our third pack, I believe. A lot of Aloyan. So we have Matrix Warden, very solid card. Being able to buff himself or someone else when he comes on the board, really fantastic. Metasite, we're pretty much gonna ignore. We have our 2 Technosmiths. That should be enough to get the cards we need leveled up as we get into a match. Sort of like Energy Surge, it's really tough to even consider playing this card early in the game when you want to really establish like a board presence or get ahead in some way. This guy is just, you know, you gotta really believe in your long game to play this guy. It's great that he's free at level 3, but he doesn't really offer any other bonus besides being free, right? So he's a really tough sell. This guy just keeps coming back, and you know, I think it's the game trying to tell me something. Nexus Pilot. Yeah, another one of those cards I haven't really played a whole lot with. I like to play the other card that you put in the center lane for added effect, and I still can't think of the name. It's gonna come to me after I shut off the recording, but yeah, Nexus Pilot just helps himself, and I guess that's okay, but it's not great. Marrow Fiend, I have mixed feelings about this guy. He's absolutely expendable, and that's the whole point, right? You put him in front of a creature that's gonna be attacking in on your turn, and then he'll trade with pretty much anything you put him across from. But he's almost always gonna die very quickly. Corpse Crawler we can pretty much ignore with the deck we have so far. In order to put him out, you need to sacrifice someone from your board. We don't have any recurring creatures, so this guy is basically we're just gonna ignore him on sight. And I think we're just gonna go to, oh, we got some friends here who are pinging me for a game of Icarus, Guns of Icarus online. Man, I was ready to play like an hour ago, but that's how it goes sometimes. You know what, we're gonna go with the Matrix Warden. I was gonna say Marrow Fiend, but no. Matrix Warden is just the all-around better card. We get another Marrow Fiend in our next pack. We also get a Electronet. This card is really weak. It's the poor man's Sonic Pulse, which is the 1 or 2 rarities up from this guy. This guy only affects 1 creature. Has a bigger impact on the debuff on power, on attack, sorry. I keep saying power because I've played a lot of Magic. But to just affect 1 creature and not really do anything to their health or prevent them from attacking, this guy I found to be a tough sell. I used him a bit when I first started playing, but kind of, you know, other cards have surpassed it now that I've, you know, built up a decent collection. Aegis Pulse, again, this is probably the 3rd time it's shown up. Again, they're trying to tell me something. Nexus Core, Defender, huge defender, does absolutely no damage by itself. Again, I can pair it with the Jetpack for a surprise attack. I'm not building my deck around that, but sometimes with, you know, with these draft decks, you can't really craft the perfect strategy. You gotta go with the flow, obviously. That being said, if I'm gonna put a creature in my deck, I really want it doing some work. Marrow Fiend is gonna do it for me. Aegis Pulse, just not working the armor angle at all. Okay, the 2 new cards in this pack are the Tetra Blight. Target creature gets, when this creature deals battle damage to a level 1 creature, destroy that creature. So it's going to give your give one of your creatures death touch, which is pretty damn useful. It's not limited by level. Actually it is, sorry. Level 1 is going to be a level 1 creature, level 2 creature or lower, and of course level 3 any creature of any level. Something to keep in mind, of course, is that you have to hit them. If armor gets in the way, and if armor absorbs all the damage from the creature with Touch of Blight, it doesn't trigger this effect. There is no death. It has to get through the armor. My creatures are of pretty low attack overall, and I don't have any combat tricks right now that boost attack. I haven't seen one, you know, like, I am just having bad luck thinking of card names today. But you know what I mean. If I had ways of boosting attack on my creatures, then this would be a good pick. Tower Vanguard, again, if I had ways of boosting this guy's attack. Oh, sorry, boosting his armor. This is a little different case. I've been ignoring all the Aegis pulses. So this guy is not really going to be a good pick for the deck I have. In an armor-based deck, fantastic. Really solid card, but no. Okay, so guess what I'm going to pick? I'm going to go for the Magic Warden. I'm going to ignore this Touch of Blight. I'm going to go for another Magic Warden. It's going to be more useful in more situations. Man, generally I haven't been wowed by the packs I've been getting. At the very least, if they're just throwing me like a legendary card, one of these packs, or I just add to my collection, you know, I don't end up really, you know, it doesn't really impact my deck too much, that would have been great, but we're at the mercy of the randomness here. Okay, here we go. Finally, we have something that boosts attack. And it's permanent for as long as the creature survives. So I think it's time to get some of these cards into my deck just to sort of spice things up and to change the flow of combat a bit. There's nothing worse than really needing an answer to, you know, some trick that your opponent's pulled out, and then you draw into a hand that's just all creatures, and so there's no way to really have an, you know, do something immediately that's going to affect the board. You know, some creatures do have effects that, you know, trigger when you bring them out, but sometimes those effects are like more small in scale, and you know, they don't do enough to really make a difference. Okay, so we've seen these two cards already. We have a regenerating zombie here, and we have a Nexus Core. We're not going the defender route. Sure, this guy will work with Jetpack, but I think, yeah, I think I'm just better off getting a Gravecast. That makes our first regenerating creature, I think. Yeah. Here we go. I was thinking of Hungering Strike. This thing is going to boost an attack of one of your creatures while decreasing the attack of an opposing creature. You know, we also have Ghastly Touch. This is like a single target epidemic. Generally not as good as an epidemic. We have Tech Upgrade. This is gonna give +2 attack and armor, a level 1, and it's gonna scale up. Another Vengeful Spirit and another Grave Pact. We don't want to work too many Grave Pacts. I only have, well, yeah, I don't have any recurring creatures. We already have one Marrow Fiend. We could get another one, and we could ensure that our you know, we can kind of trade with more creatures more often. Hungering Strike. Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards a Hungering Strike now, just so we have some more combat tricks to keep my opponent on his toes. Tech Upgrade is decent, but yeah, I would rather have another Jetpack at this point instead of a Tech Upgrade. But since we don't have a Jetpack here, we'll go for the Hungering Strike. Done. Metasite, we're gonna ignore that. Fellwalker, so here's a recurring creature. Bring it up for you in case you're not familiar. It's basically, the first time this guy dies, he's gonna come back as a zombie of this with the same stats as the previous iteration. So you get 2 creatures for the price of 1. Great combo with a lot of other cards. The Corpse Crawler would have went well with the Fellwalker, but we just weren't sure if we were going to get a Fellwalker in any of our packs. We've got another Witherfrost Banshee, and first time we have a Forge Plate Sentry, a really solid creature for Loyan. Has armor, and his stats go up quite nicely. And a Stasis Warden. This guy is going to trigger off any spells you play after he comes out, and you basically prevent another creature from attacking until the start of your next turn. Pretty good for a defensive deck. We aren't necessarily playing a defensive deck. I'm tempted to go with another Banshee, but I kind of want to have a more solid creature to just rely on if I'm sort of like ahead or sort of like at parity with my opponent. Banshee could actually turn the tide of certain board states, getting rid of that huge guy that I wasn't able to kill on my previous turn. He's down to like, 2 life, or 1 life even, and instead of like trading another guy up with this guy in combat, I could just put down a Banshee and just be done with him, right? The difficult decisions. We're a little halfway through the deck, so I think we'll go for the more reliable guy, Sentry. Actually, I have second thoughts. I want to put a Fellwalker in. No, let's put a Sentry in. Okay, next pack. Oh, we have another jetpack. I think I'm going to take that over the heavy artillery. We have a Sparkbot, but nothing too special. He's vanilla, but his stats go up quite nicely. They're quite nice just from level 1. But no, we'll do another jetpack, and then that will be all the jetpacks we'll put into this deck. Ooh, slim pickings in this pack. We have Force Field. Target creature gets armor 5 this turn. So you're basically giving a single creature temporary armor, which could save its life, but that's all you're really doing. And then it goes away. And then the other new card in this pack is Gloom Reaper Witch. Based on the cards you already have in this deck, not too helpful. Works well with the Epidemic and the Wither Frost Banshee. She really demands a low attack for her to kill something. Like at level 1, she can only go after something with attack 1, which is like, it's tough. And yeah, we also have a Hungering Strike to reduce attack. But she is better than the other 2 cards. I'm just gonna have to grit my teeth and just put in a Witch. Okay, so we have another Corpse Crawler. If we had taken the Fellwalker, I probably would have chosen this guy. But we don't. We do have one other Abomination. So we may as well just take a Dr. Frankenbaum. Right, so if he dies, or if another Abomination dies, they can ping your opponent for damage. Just a little bit, but every point of damage counts. Okay, we got a new pack, and it's miserable, like, just miserable. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I mean, another Sparkbot, another Darkshaper Savant, another of these Forge Guardian Alphas, Defender only. Necrotic Worm, not interested. Grimgaunt Spectre. I think since I don't have outright removal, and generally removal is powerful in a limited environment, we're gonna do Cult of Week. Cult of Week's gonna, yeah, it's gonna find its target. And it'd be good to have at least one removal spell in my deck. Great Pact, Fellwalker, Aegis Conscript, Metamine Adept, Technosmith. I think I have enough Technosmiths at this point. I think a second Metamine Adept would be fantastic. So I'm gonna get him. We're starting to go going a little bit faster. Our deck is shaping up. Even though not in theme, but at least in number of cards, we're heading towards end here, 22 to 30 cards. Well, this is interesting. We have Charnel Titan. Now, right off the bat, this guy's going to go well with Dr. Frankenbaum, since he's an abomination. And he also goes well with the Hungering Strike, the Witherfrost Banshee, and what else reduces attack. That's it. But if you can get someone weaker and put this guy out, man, this guy is fantastic. It's either that or Deathseeker. Those are the two possible picks from this pack. Just quickly checking over the cards I already have in my deck. Since I have a Grave Pact, I think it just helped me out more to have that Deathseeker in there. Yeah, let's go Deathseeker. Okay. Slim pickings again. We could get another Graveghast. We have one already. Or we could go Ghastly Touch. Now Ghastly Touch is going to work well with the Witch that we put in. The Gloom Reaper Witch right here. Yeah. And would have worked well with the Charnel Titan, but we didn't pick him. That's fine though. That's fine. You can treat this guy as a removal spell in some cases, and I need more removal, so I'm going to get the Ghastly Touch. Oh, another Ghastly Touch. And the other card is Nether Embrace. Now here's a card. Here's another one of those cards I've never ever used in a deck. Maybe once, and then I just quickly switched it out. It's like this life drain effect that I think is just a bit too insignificant to really matter. I'd never really played a life gain deck in SolForge. I experimented with one that was Utera and Aloyan, but it wasn't that great. It wasn't that fun either. Sometimes you can have sort of weak decks that are still fun to play just because of the interactions you're making happen, the different card combos, but if I wanted to do another life gain deck, I could do Utera and Necreon. That could work. But we're not in Utera. Anyway, I'm just kind of talking hypothetically about, doesn't even relate to my draft deck, so ignore that. We'll go with the second Ghastly Touch. Alright, 5 cards to go. This is our final pack. Ooh, I like the look of this. Bone Scythe Reaver. If you can get this guy leveled up, in the first player level, he's just gonna pay back dividends later on. A Nexus Pilot, not interested. We have a Blightwalker. He could be a decent play, assuming that we don't play someone who's using a lot of armor. He's gonna be pretty relevant. You're not gonna be able to ignore this guy forever. We have another Ionic War Charger, another Call to Week, and we have a Vault Technician. Vault Technician is it's kind of like that rare Alolan card that has a very high attack in comparison to its health. But the level 1 stats are miserable. Level 2 stats are decent, and if you want to stick with him, give him to level 3, he's actually pretty good. But he doesn't do anything else, right? And yeah, I mean, in this whole pool of cards, I mean, it's the Bone Scythe Reaver that really sticks out to me. He's going to be really useful. I'd either pick him or the Call to Week, but I'll go for the Reaver. We get another Vault Technician, which is fine. I actually might consider getting him, but I think for that sort of for these stats, I'd rather go for the Glutton here, right? The Glutton's gonna give you some value after he dies, and he's gonna combo well with Dr. Frankenball, which we already have one of in our deck. Zombie Infantry, as vanilla creatures go, he's pretty good of a vanilla creature for Necreum. And another Cold of the Week. Let's see here. I still should get more creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A third of my deck is, well, a little bit more than a third of my deck right now is spells. Yeah, I think I want another Glutton. Yeah. Between Cold of the Week and Greyblown Glutton, yeah, I'm gonna go for the Glutton. Yep, let's do it. Alright, Bulwark Bash. This is gonna basically translate the armor of one of your creatures into damage. And it just happens temporarily. It's just like a one-time effect. Never really used that a whole lot, just because I never really made an intensely armor deck. Sparkbot is actually looking pretty good right about now. It's just a decent, a decent vanilla creature to put in. Yeah, let's get the Sparkbot. What else we got here? Another Charnel Titan. Oh yeah, let's get the Charnel Titan. Got a lot of creatures in this deck. Oh, look at this. Look at this. I've been waiting to get a second copy of this guy. Brightsteel Gargoyle. This guy is special. Not the least because he's a legendary, but if you just look at his stats are not terribly exciting. They're pretty good. Like, they're pretty much on par with like the level. 5/5 level 1 is average to good. 9/9 at level 2 is, average. And you get 16/16 for level 3. That's pretty good. And then when you pair it with his ability, which is mobility, and also when it's not your turn, this guy becomes a defender, and he gets armor, right? So at level 1 it's armor 2, level 2 armor 5, and level 3 armor 10, which is just insane. And then the mobility also goes up from 1 to 2 to 3. So basically, this guy is it's very hard to kill this guy if you have a very creature-centric deck. You cannot rely on this guy attacking into you on your turn, and you find a way to kill it, right? Putting a big block in front of him, and he's gonna be able to dance around your blockers when it's your opponent's turn, right? So if your opponent has the Brightsteel Gargoyle, very hard to kill. You basically need some heavy-duty removal, either like a Dreadbolt, which is going to be a bit more rare in draft, or you're going to need some heavy, a leveled up Tempest spell like Lightning Spark, or the other one, Uranti Bolt. Love this guy. He's pretty much good in whatever deck you put him in. He's very all-purpose, very versatile, very powerful. Instant include. And what a way to end off this draft deck. We're gonna say play later. I've gone on long enough. I always want to do like a short 15-20 minute video, and it never works out that way, unfortunately. But I hope you've enjoyed drafting a deck with me. We're gonna save it. We're gonna leave it off here. Next time I come back, we're gonna jump into our first match with our brand new deck, and we'll see how we do, and we'll kind of do a debrief after that match and find out where we went right with our picks, where we went wrong, how my piloting skills were in actually playing the deck. If we can see, basically look at what matchup we got and how well this deck played against, whatever deck we faced. Because every deck has a weakness, right? And every deck has its strengths. And certain matchups are really going to have a big effect on how well we do in this draft run. So I'll just leave it off here. Thanks very much for watching this, guys, and I will see you later this week. Bye.